Здравствуйте, hello, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, hello, my name is Jacinta and welcome to Rural Russia. 6 months ago we emigrated from the Netherlands to Russia with the dream of starting a small family homestead. And during this year we are exploring different regions. Today we are traveling to the Adygea region, an area in the south of Russia, just above Georgia. So I am currently standing at the Sheremetyevo airport in Moscow. It was actually the first time that my husband and I flew together, and after a 3-hour flight, we could see the tops of the Caucasus mountains. We had to drive 3 hours from the airport to our hotel, and on our way, our driver already told us about the Adyghe people and the language they speak. And you speak it, Adygheski.
Yes, I know some words, like English. First word will be Hukobляк.
Что?
Hukobляк. Добро пожаловать. Welcome.
Ah! Then we got dinner and finally we reached our hotel room. I'm currently sitting in a hotel in Maikop, and Maikop is the capital of the Adygea region. So yesterday we came to Adygea and it was quite a long journey. We had to get up at 7 a.m. Then we took the train to Moscow. From there we took a flight to Mineralnaya Vodu. And from there it was about a 3.5-hour drive to get to Maikop. If you watch my video where I shared how we are finding our home, I already told you that we were interested in the Adygea region. But the thing that we really want to know is, would it be possible for us to buy land here? Because it is a more populated area. And so we want to know, is it possible to have the seclusion that we are looking for? And all that we hope to figure out during this week. For this week we actually decided to go to a travel agency. My husband was actually looking online and he found a travel agency, Rusmania, that specializes in arranging travels throughout entire Russia, both in English and in Russian. We got into contact with them, and the man that runs Rusmania, Sergey, he was really nice. He talked with us online for over an hour. He explained the differences between all the different regions. And from there, we booked a trip to the Adygea region. Everything was arranged for us. He booked the flights, the hotel. He found a local guide that spoke English. He found a driver. He made an entire itinerary so we knew what to expect, what to bring, etc. And when we got back from the trip, we were actually so happy with how everything went that I went and asked him if he wanted to sponsor this video. So I'm very proud to announce the first sponsorship on Rural Russia. I know that many of you are interested in exploring Russia yourself, and especially if you are English speaking and don't really speak Russian, it can be pretty overwhelming to book a trip and arrange everything yourself. Sergey speaks English very, very well, so that's why I wanted to share a little bit about what Rusmania does, and I even got a discount code. So if you book a trip through Rusmania and you mention Rural Russia, it will give you a 5% discount on the entire trip. And I will also get a commission of 5%. So not only are you saving some money, but you are also supporting me and supporting our dream. Rusmania actually offers some pre-made tours. So they do tours through the Golden Ring, by the Volga, Trans-Siberian tours, or even to Kamchatka. And there are definitely some tours on there that we still really want to do. Or you can book a custom tour, and that is what we did. So then you just tell him what you are looking for, and together you kind of create an itinerary that fits what you want. What I really liked about this travel agency is that they use a lot of local guides and local drivers, so you're supporting the local community. It honestly just felt like we were spending a day with friends. We were talking so much with the guide about what life there is like. And if you are not living in Russia, Rusmania can also give you support on getting your tourist visa and explain how everything works. So if you are interested in booking a tour with Rusmania like we did, check out all the tours that they have to offer or consider booking a custom tour, go over to rusmania.com. I will also put the link in the description. And don't forget to mention Rural Russia to get a 5% discount. So he essentially made a plan for 4 days for us. And besides those 4 days, we are staying here another 3 days to visit a farmer, to meet up with people that we've met online. So it promises to be a very action-packed week. So starting off with today, we are mainly exploring Maikop today. We started our tour with a walk through the park. And right away I was shocked. Green grass and flowers. Back in Yaroslavl, everything was still grey and snowy. It instantly felt like vacation. We walked by a flag of the Adyghe Republic. This area actually has a very interesting history. I will share the stories our guide shared with us. The Adyghe Republic used to have its own tribes that weren't actually Russian. But the area needed protection against enemies and asked Russia for help, which they were given in 1557. This marked the start of the relationship between Russia and Adyghe. We walked by a monument that celebrated the 400-year anniversary. However, there is also another side of the story. Many years later, in 1763, Russia wanted authority over the Circassia area, including Adyghe. But the Circassian tribes refused. The war lasted for 101 years. It was an exhausting war for both sides. But in the end, Russia defeated the last army. Before the war, around 2 million people lived in the Circassian area. After the war, around 500,000 remained. The flag of Adyghe contains 12 stars, each representing one of the original tribes in the area. So looking at the monument gave us mixed feelings, but we don't know that much about it, so we wondered, what do you guys know about this history? After learning about the history, we went to the Adyghe Museum, where we learned more about the Adyghe people. The Adyghe people had their own language. It was a language that was only spoken and never written. But much later, they made an alphabet for the language. It consists of the Cyrillic alphabet with 33 characters, plus around 33 more characters, depending on the dialect. The museum shared stories of the life they lived. But how can we know about their life if they didn't have writing? It's because European businessmen traveled there to see what they could sell here. When they were there, they wrote diaries about the life of Adyghe people. Afterwards, we walked through the park, where I saw a Eurasian nuthatch. Then we walked over to the central market. So we just spent the morning exploring Maikop, and now we are actually going to follow an Adyghean cheese workshop. So Adyghe sir or Adyghe cheese is very popular in Russia, and they will give us a tiny masterclass, and after that they will give us a traditional lunch with all the dishes that are made in this area.
Он так переворачивается вначале, мы просто его выпрямляем. Да. У, ищи, говорите. С. Вот так, отлично. Это будет слабосоленый сыр.
Да, не надо насаливать.
We made Adyghe cheese and pastries filled with Adyghe cheese. It was actually quite simple. Afterwards, we had lunch with everything we made. And we tried chips, a red sauce that is used to dip in rice or corn. Everything was delicious. Then we continued our day with a hike near a monastery. When we got back, my husband and I went to a restaurant that served Adyghe foods. We started off with khachapuri, which is actually Georgian, but I just really like it. Then we ordered nekul na mangalia, a lamb sausage made with organ meats. And we tried the chips again. Everything was delicious. Ultra, good morning. It is now already the next day. Yesterday we had such a busy day. We did so many different things. But now we are ready for the next day. We are also going with our guide again today. It was very nice to have this guide with us to tell us a lot about the culture here. Today we have another fun day planned. Today we will go for a longer hike. But first let's go ahead and grab some breakfast. Here they have an English breakfast with eggs, a Greek salad, mushrooms and ciabatta. At this point, we also started noticing that there are a lot of street dogs in Adygea.
Суметь хоть самой маленькой горбой, остаться жить среди родителей.
So we are now actually taking a hike in a place to the south of Maikop, and we are currently at about 900 meters altitude. And it's really funny, back when we were in the Netherlands I watched a video about foraging wild garlic, and the next couple of weeks I went around the forest and I picked all the plants and I smelled everything, whether it smelled like garlic, but I couldn't find it anywhere. And I don't know if you can see it, but behind me, this is all wild garlic. So let's just pick one of these leaves. And I can already tell this really smells like garlic. It's actually really good. We stopped in a forest and sat down for lunch. We ate bread with wild garlic, eggs from the market and smoked Adygea cheese. Our guide brought tea that she made from local leaves and berries. It was so good. We took a train past the Belaya River and walked through the beautiful canyon. In the evening, we walked around Maikop. In the middle of the night, we woke up from all the dogs barking. So hello, good morning. So we just had 2 days with our guides. It was very interesting. It was so nice to have a guide with us who told us everything. Today we actually won't be with our guides, but we will be with a man we met online through a Telegram channel. We met up with Abdel, a man that wants to help people who are interested in farming in the Caucasus region. Our tour guide had recommended us 2 villages to look at for homesteading land, Sevastopolskaya and Nova Svobodnaya. So together with Abdel we drove there. The village was beautiful. We looked at different houses that were for sale and some of the land around the village. The view was amazing. There was even an abandoned street a little outside the village. The next day, we visited an agricultural plot of land that was for sale. The plot was only 1 hectare, but there was already a small house on it. This plot was around 7 million rubles, or 70,000 euros. It was a beautiful plot, but unfortunately, the price was too high for us, considering we would need more than 1 hectare of land. So we are back at the hotel and I actually wanted to catch up with you guys a little. So yesterday and today we actually spent time visiting these villages. The man we were with, he said very often these villages, they have an administration office and it's always next to or inside the local supermarket or local store. So we went to the local store in one of the villages and we asked like, where is the administration office? And they started saying like, oh, why? What do you want to do? What are you interested in? And it's like what I said in my video a while back where I shared the 3 things I noticed in Russia. They all started being like, oh, I know someone, or my neighbor's friend, he is moving and he wants to sell his house. It's a very beautiful house. Even without making a plan, pretty soon you will have 5 different locations to visit. And it was very, very coincidental, but we actually met a man inside that store who used to work in the UK for a little bit, so he spoke English very good. So he went with us to all these houses, he showed us around, and it was just really, really special. We really liked this town, because when we went with our guide the last couple of days, it was very interesting what she showed us, but all the places were very touristy. But these villages were not touristy at all. They were very peaceful, very quiet, a lot of tiny homesteads, people with goats, with some cows, with some gardens. We went to about 5 different houses that were for sale, and we also talked a lot with them about our current plan, about what we are looking for. So what they said is maybe you can consider starting small. Make sure that you really like the region that you picked, that you are comfortable with the amount of animals, and that you don't get overwhelmed. So this was really good advice, because I think sometimes, like, we are young, we are a bit naive, maybe we romanticize things. So like the man that showed us around that day, he also had a small homestead, he kept some goats in the past, and he told us don't think it will be easy. It's very hard when you are starting with animals. It takes a lot of work, and you are probably starting this plan to be more with family, but then if you spend all your time with the animals and all your time working hard, you will have all this lovely food, but you will have no time to enjoy it. You will have no time to enjoy your family. At the end of the day, he also invited us over to his homestead. He had a very lovely wife and 1 daughter. She tried to speak a little English, which is always so great and so nice to see. We tried to speak a little Russian, of course. And something else that I found interesting that I wanted to share, if there is a big cultural difference. Because I had heard that a bigger percentage of people here is Islam, follows an Islamic belief, because this can of course have an impact on whether you feel welcome or not. I went to Egypt once and I was the only one with my hair like loose like this, and everyone looked at me, and it's not like they were mean or anything, they were very nice people, but still it's hard to feel welcome when you are such an outlier in the community. But here it's not like that. I feel very normal in the street. We talked to him a little bit about faith and what it's like in Adygea region, and he said, you know, for me the Quran, the Bible, the Torah, they say a lot of the same things, and I believe in the Quran, but I have very big respect for people that follow the Bible, that follow the Torah, and we are all just trying to be good people, to have values. So he said there is no difficulty here with any of that. People respect each other, people are very nice to each other, and that's also the feel I have. So in that sense it was really useful for us to come here to get an idea of this culture. But it's actually funny, the man we were with was originally from Uzbekistan, and he told us, have you ever tried Uzbekistan food? In the Netherlands, Uzbekistan isn't really a popular country. Nobody goes there on vacation. Nobody knows about the culture, the history. So he is actually taking us to an Uzbek restaurant tonight. So I am very curious to see what Uzbek food is like.
The food was really good. I especially enjoyed the ayran, a yogurt drink with salt in it. A perfect drink after a warm day.
Good morning again. It is a very sunny day today. It's about 25 degrees. Today is actually our last day meeting up with Abdel, and today we will meet a farmer in the area who keeps chickens, and he does it in a way that we also want to keep our animals, and that is called rotational grazing. So when we are there I will explain a little bit about what he does and what's so special about it.
When we arrived at the chicken farm, it was a beautiful view. The farmer owned around 50 hectares in a valley in the mountains. He keeps his chickens outside most of the time, and every couple of days he moves the chickens to fresh pasture. This is called rotational grazing. If you keep chickens in the same place all the time, they will scratch up the soil so much that all grass will disappear. This is bad for the soil. But by moving the chickens around, The grass has time to grow and the chickens have access to fresh greens almost year-round. This ends up providing a better soil and more nutritious eggs.
So every 2 days you move them to a different plot?
Yes, yes. In a pasture period of time, when grass is very быстро расти, fast grow.
There they have grain.
Корм есть. Yes. It's not a grain, it's как комбикорм. Как бы комбикорм.
Like animal feed. And that is where they were 2 days ago, or not?
Yes, it's yesterday. Our climate, we already in the winter have some green grass and a little bit growth.
And do you have issues with drought?
July, August, it's like a normal period of very hot sun.
And where do you get water from?
Just from our small river.
Ah, okay.
River.
After visiting the farmer, we decided to go on a short hike. And I wanted to introduce you all to Abdel.
So I am sitting here with Abdel, the man that has been helping us these past few days to explore the Adygea region. And we just did a beautiful hike through Adyghe. And I wanted to ask Abdel, first of all, why did you help us these last couple of days?
So my idea is to bring the expertise and experience of the Western farmers to this region and to build a community so they can communicate with each other and integrate and bring their experience to our region. I'm also a beginning farmer, so I would be glad to be like assistance on settling down process, on paperwork process and everything. And all my services are free. So did I ask any money from you?
No, you didn't ask any money.
Yeah.
And why do you think Adygea is such a good area for farmers?
There are several reasons why south part of Russia. There are several reasons. One, we have more than 300 sunny days in a year. Mm-hmm. Second, we are one of the key providers and suppliers of agricultural products like meat, dairy products, fruits, vegetables, etc. Mm-hmm. And also another reason, the government is supporting. They are basically giving you money and they are saying, okay, here's the money, take it, do business and prosper. Like about 42-45% of the internal demand, Russia is supplying with its own, market. Mm. So
for food,
yeah, agricultural products. But they have an intention to increase this to 70-75%. This means that the government will give more attention and more support for the farmers, not only in our region, of course, in entire Russia.
And why do you help people for free?
I found out that there are a lot of people who are planning or looking for some opportunities to move to Russia and do some homestead, homestead business. So we can be integrated to mutual win-win, cooperation. That's why I don't need any money. Mm. So maybe I will learn something from you. Maybe I will teach for something new.
Yeah.
So it's like exchange program.
Yeah. And last question, what would you say to people who are currently not living in Russia but who are farming now or who want to farm and are considering living in Russia, starting up in Russia?
I would say this is one of the best decision that you might have in your life. Why Russia? For example, me myself, I came to Russia I started to come in 2008, but entirely I moved in 2011. I came as an immigrant. I made a lot of achievements and I was provided with all those benefits that every Russian citizen have. Mm. Healthcare, education, social security, employment. Yeah. My family has the access. Reason number two, we have more than 180 ethnicity. All of these people are living in harmony. This is what I respect, what I like in Russia. Me as an immigrant, I haven't faced any discrimination or any, suppression. So I was treated as, full Russian citizen. You yourself, for example, we have been in several villages where you haven't met those people. I haven't met them before, but you see how hospitable they were.
They're so kind.
They were showing you, they were trying to help you.
Yeah.
So if you want to live in such environment, why not to move to Russia? From A to Z to all the process of the legalization and adaptation to this country, I would be glad to be helpful for every people who want to move and relocate to Russia.
So if you, like us, are interested in exploring the Adygea region, in coming to Russia, starting a farm here, go down to the description where I will put the Telegram information of Abdel so you can reach him yourself.
Thank you.
The next day we relocated to another hotel closer to the nature reserve. It was a very rainy day. Once the weather cleared up, Mark and I decided to be spontaneous. We actually went horseback riding. It was my first time and I absolutely loved it. Then we went on one final trip with our guide. This time we explored the nature reserve. We drove up into the mountains and reached a beautiful view. We are now hiking near Lagunagi, and they say that is like the most famous touristy place in Adygea. It is like the Adyghe Eiffel Tower. There are many legends about the name Lagunagi, but one of the stories goes that Lago and Naki were man and wife. There was a big fight that had to be fought. Lago was the commander of the troops, so on horses the men went to battle. But quickly the man Lago got hurt and had to ride back to his wife. The troops were completely lost without their commander. They were losing the battle and things seemed hopeless. Until Lago returned on his horse. The troops were so empowered by his perseverance that it gave them the strength to continue. When the battle was won and Lago removed his helmet, it turned out not to be Lago at all, but his wife, Naki. Lago had died soon after arriving at his wife, and realizing that they would lose the battle without their commander, Naki took over and fought in his place. The mountain ridge is named in honor of their heroic acts. After our hike, we sat down for lunch and were accompanied by these cuties.
Здравствуйте.
Что ты сама
We also visited a small zoo, where they keep the animals that are famous in the Caucasus region. I saw a bison for the first time ever.
Hello, today is already our last day here in Adygea, and what I wanted to do really quickly is to kind of share our summary of the Adygea region. So we've been here now 1 week. When I was making this list, I noticed that every pro is also a big con. So let me show how that works. For instance, the biggest pro that you will notice compared to many other areas in Russia is that there is a very good climate, in the sense that the winter really isn't cold. They told me there are only 2 weeks where there is snow, where it is freezing. However, the downside is that that means that the summer is going to be very, very warm. So this week it was already 24 degrees, which is unseasonably warm for March, even for this region. But in the summer you get 2 months of 35, 38 degrees, which is really, really warm. So if you are in Maikop, for instance, they said it really feels like a Finnish sauna room. Then the next thing is, of course, that there is beautiful nature here. So there are the Caucasus Mountains, there are a lot of nature reserves if you like to hike, if you like to be outdoors, camping. However, because of the beautiful nature, there are, of course, a lot of tourists here. And you can still find secluded areas, but we've noticed that even a small secluded village here is still a lot more crowded and a lot bigger than villages that we've seen in Tver. The last pro is actually that it is a very well maintained area and they are investing a lot of money in this area. So Abdel told us that the government has all these plans for Adygea. They want to make new resorts, they want to do more ecotourism. It gives you these new roads, good bridges. But of course the downside is that all the land becomes more expensive because land that used to be very secluded is now really easy to access with the road, with the bridges, so then it increases in price. And also the farmer with all the chickens where we were, they told us that the area around him, the local government has decided to use that area more for recreation. So all the farmland there is now, they want to sell it not as farmland but as recreational land, which increases the price, of course, a lot. We looked at 1 hectare of land and there was a well, there was a small house, like a very tiny house, but that one was already 60,000 euros or 6 million rubles for 1 hectare. And I'm not saying it might be a bad investment because this area will probably only grow, but if you have a limited budget, it is harder to find something here than it is above Moscow, for instance. So that is what I wanted to share with you, our insights, so you know the things that we are thinking about when considering this area.
I really hope you enjoyed joining our journey. We had a really great time in Adygea. And don't forget to go to rusmania.com and mention Rural Russia to get a 5% discount. If you want to support our dream, consider buying us a glass of milk through the link in the description. I will also add a link that works from a Russian bank account. And if you enjoyed this video, check out the video where we visited an abandoned village. Пока-пока!